It is graduation day at Gandhiniketan, a basic school in South India where village workers are trained through Mahatma Gandhi's learning by doing method. The 8 boys in the first graduating class can now enlist in Gandhi's silent revolution to revitalize India's 550,000 villages. But a sister revolution excites them most of all, Vinoba Bhave's walking revolution, which is sweeping rural India, the Bhudan movement for land reform, which carried on where Gandhi left off. Dr. J.C. Kumarappa, a Gandhian economist, reminds the class that both revolutions are a pursuit of Sarvodaya.
In a Sarvodaya economy, not production rates but human needs would determine costs and prices. This will mean a revolutionary outlook in economics. Are we prepared to change our approach towards material goods in order to strengthen our ties with
Dr. Kumarappa accompanies 3 graduates to the school gate. And following a group of 16-year-old seniors through their daily work at Gandhiniketan, a co-educational school near the village of Kalapati in South India, is to see Gandhi's ideas for rural education in action. Gandhi believed the problem of problems that confronts India was to revive the village economy and relate education to it. And his revolutionary plan for Nai Talim, basic education, was the way to do it. Dr. J.C. Kumarappa, a Gandhian economist, explains that basic education is a 3-way movement for village revival. Agricultural reform has priority. Next, primary education through a handicraft would teach villagers to read and write and give them a way to supplement their incomes. Finally, the reorganization of village industries would reduce unemployment, the canker corroding the entire economy of India. An agricultural country, where over 70% of the people are occupied in tilling the soil, and an additional 18% in industries connected with it, is beset by chronic starvation. All the boys at Gandhiniketan work in the fields daily. They learn from practice how traditional ways of cultivating and plowing can be improved. Ramaswamy is experimenting with a new wooden plow. As Krishna drives the bullocks which work the bucket pulley, he can see for himself that adequate irrigation, badly needed in India, does not require complicated equipment, simply plenty of wells and effective channeling. Other students transplanting rice in the flooded field will learn from their own experience how important irrigation is. Gandhi intended basic education eventually to become available to everyone. But his first concern was the neglected rural population. He was convinced that the only way to arouse the villagers' interest and stimulate their curiosity was by relating instruction to the everyday work they know and understand. Gandhiniketan students analyze community needs before allocating plots for crops. When the seniors finish picking red chilies, eggplant, and cabbage, They carry the vegetables to the hostel to weigh them and keep a record of production. Anything not needed by the school is sold in the bazaar. Learn what makes a balanced diet. Meanwhile, Raju and Satish gather banana leaves, the Indian version of paper plates, and get ready to serve lunch to the youngest pre-basic students. Lunch today consists of rice with lentils and eggplant, buttermilk and bananas. Gandhi believed that good health was a prerequisite for intellectual development. If villagers are to improve their standard of living, they must first learn how to keep healthy through proper sanitation, hygiene. For the post-basic students, not even a full day's work is enough to exhaust their youthful energy. They end the afternoon with a game of kabaddi. A boy from one team runs to the other team, saying kabaddi, 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 as long as he can without taking a breath. As soon as he has to breathe, he may be tackled and is out. At night, the post-basic students work and study in their hostel. Each one is specializing in a different aspect of village work. Sadashivam, who is interested in weaving, winds and counts thread. Krishna is reading up on nutrition, which he hopes to make his specialty. Satish clips articles and begins typing a story to prepare himself for newspaper work. Gopal interrupts him to discuss politics, which is his main interest. Sukumar is making a model oil press to demonstrate at an exhibition. While Raju, the artistic member of the class, paints a poster for it. And Ramaswamy reads about the Sarvodaya Sammelan, an annual exhibition which the boys plan to attend after the term ends. Prem wants to be a doctor and is teaching himself the English he will need in medical school by working out the vocabulary for the contents of a first aid kit. One practical way Prem can learn something about medicine is by helping the veterinarian at the weekly clinic organized by the village cattle cooperative. Gandhi was convinced that agricultural cooperatives were the only way for villagers to benefit fully from farming and animal husbandry. In the evening, villagers bring their cows to the Gandhiniketan cooperative for milking. By selling their milk through the cooperative, farmers get a better price and are not tempted to water it. After each cow's production has been measured and the amount due its owner is recorded, Prem will check the milk under a microscope. Work in the cattle cooperative has introduced the students to a surprising number of related subjects.
Just as a biologist must learn many other sciences besides biology, basic education, if it is treated as a science, takes us into innumerable channels of learning.
Khadi, or homespun cloth, was the fundamental craft around which basic education centered. Gandhiniketan students handle every process, from growing cotton to sewing the woven cloth. Khadi was Gandhi's greatest symbol of village self-sufficiency. Even if India freed herself from British rule, she would not be truly independent until she could fill all her own basic needs. Every village must make its own clothing. It must stop using foreign cloth, which had caused the decline of village industry. After the students have gathered the cotton, they clean it and gin out the seeds. Then they card the cotton with bows to comb it out. Gandhi's genius for making use of modest resources inspired him to make khadi a symbol of the dignity of manual labor as well. Those who share in the consumption of goods must share in their production. If everyone worked, he said, all tasks would be deemed equally noble, and the traditional distinctions of status, which made manual labor inferior, would be eliminated.
When once we have revived khadi, all the other industries will follow. I would make the spinning wheel the foundation on which to build a sound village life. I would make the wheel the center round which all other activities will revolve.
Everyone could spin, young and old, rich and poor, city dweller and villager, educated and uneducated. To Gandhi, spinning meant economic freedom and equality, especially for the agricultural workers, to whom the dry season means as much as 4 months a year without work and without income. Even the youngest children of Gandhiniketan begin to spin with the takli, a spindle-like device. Because khadi was to be the villagers' salvation, it is also the main craft learned by graduate students training at Gandhiniketan to become basic school teachers. They help the khadi master weigh hanks of yarn, which Sada Shivam then carries off for weaving. The younger children get all tangled up as they double yarn by spinning 2 lengths together so it is strong enough for weaving. Then they wind it on special bobbins in preparation for setting up the loom. From the start, all instruction is correlated to the craft.
The whole of elementary arithmetic can be taught by counting yards of thread, weighing hanks, getting yarn ready for the weaver, calculating the number of cross threads to be put in the warp. Every process from the growing of cotton to the manufacture of the finished product, cotton picking, ginning, carding, spinning, sizing, weaving, all would have their mechanics and history, mathematics and geography correlated to them.
The khadi master demonstrates how to apply sizing, which is a kind of glue, to stiffen warp threads which have been set up preparatory to weaving. Raju and Sadashivam try their hands at sizing. Then Sadashivam moves on to the loom.